In the last episode of Retention in Action, I shared findings from the literature on student success, which suggest that social emotional learning, SEL or SE, may play a role in predicting students' persistence and success in higher education. SEL includes skills such as sustaining effort, academic self-efficacy, time management, and goal setting. In the last episode, I offered tips and resources for helping all students hone their goal-setting skills. In this episode, I'll offer tips and resources for helping all students develop a stronger sense of academic self-efficacy. Instructors may find these tips to be particularly helpful as you begin planning for the spring semester. First, I'll say a few words about the concept of academic self-efficacy. Psychologist Albert Bandura introduced the term self-efficacy in 1977 as a way of describing a person's belief in their ability to influence their environment and control outcomes. People who have high self-efficacy believe that their choices and actions will influence their environment and result in the outcomes they want to see. Meanwhile, people who have low self-efficacy doubt the effectiveness of their choices and actions in influencing their environment and helping to create the outcomes they want to see. Academic self-efficacy focuses specifically on a person's beliefs about the effectiveness of their choices and actions in influencing their academic outcomes. For example, students with high academic self-efficacy are likely to believe that their choices about study time and strategies will influence their performance on an upcoming exam, helping them achieve or preventing them from achieving the grade they want. Meanwhile, students with low academic self-efficacy may doubt their own power to influence the outcomes of an exam through the choices they make about when and how to study. In this way, students' beliefs about their own academic self-efficacy may affect their study habits and goal-setting behaviors. Additionally, self-efficacy affects other aspects of social emotional well-being, with people who have a high sense of self-efficacy generally enjoying greater levels of resilience, motivation, and the ability to establish and maintain healthy habits. We don't have a way of determining which students have a high sense of academic self-efficacy and which students have a lower sense of academic self-efficacy, but we can all do a few simple things to help all of our students increase their sense of academic self-efficacy. First, be intentional with the verb you use when talking with students about grades. When talking with students about grades, use questions like, "What grade did you earn in your English class?" Or, "What grade do you want to earn on this exam?" Or, "What study strategies will you use to earn the grade you want on your next math exam?" These questions, specifically the use of the verb to earn, reinforce the idea that students' own actions and choices influence their academic outcomes and can help to move them towards the grades they want. All students will benefit from this reminder, even those who already have relatively high levels of academic self-efficacy. Encourage students to engage in reflective journaling or other metacognitive exercises. Such activities not only help students look back on the actions or behaviors that helped them succeed or prevented them from succeeding, but also help them plan ahead to the actions that will lead to future success. The exam wrapper presented in the last episode of Retention in Action is a good example of the kind of reflective activity that will help students take stock of their helpful habits and plan for success in the future. Journal prompts can also be a quick and easy way to encourage this kind of reflection. You may consider asking students to write in a journal weekly. In their journals, they can reflect on the actions they took in the past week and the ways those actions influenced outcomes. This type of exercise can be helpful both in the classroom setting and outside the classroom. In some cases, it can even work in the context of an on-campus job. Model or describe the kinds of study skills or strategies that are likely to help students do well in your class. Students are introduced to new fields of study and new ways of thinking in college. These new fields of study and new ways of thinking will almost certainly require different study strategies than the strategies that students learned in high school. By showing students how you work with knowledge in your field, you help them boost their academic self-efficacy. Consider addressing issues such as the following explicitly in your class. Show students how you take notes on or otherwise engage with a text that presents new information in your field. Point out how homework assignments build on each other, prepare students for assessments, help them practice specified skills, or teach them to use effective study methods. Help students determine an appropriate amount of time to spend on projects or assignments. For more insight on the amount of time that students should spend on various types of assignments, visit the website maintained by UWSP's Center for Inclusive Teaching and Learning. You'll find this information at the Course Workload Estimator link on the Teaching Support page. Explicitly tell students what to expect on an exam. For example, how will the questions be formatted? What topics will be covered? And what will students be expected to do with the ideas covered on the exam? And whenever possible, provide students with rubrics which explicitly indicate how their work will be assessed. You can increase the effectiveness of rubrics by showing samples of student work that represent both high and low scores on the rubric. All of these tips will help students understand what they need to do in order to succeed in your specific field of study and your specific class. For additional ideas that you can use in the classroom, I encourage you to visit the Teaching Tips section of the UWSP Center for Inclusive Teaching and Learning's website. You may find the teaching tip handouts and associated videos on the following topics to be particularly helpful: inclusive instruction ideas, learning how to learn, ungrading, deep learning, and improving effectiveness of feedback. If you have additional questions or would like to run an idea by a colleague, our friends in the Center for Inclusive Teaching and Learning are always happy to help, as am I. Please let me know if I can support you in connecting with resources and ideas to help students build a strong sense of self-efficacy. In the meantime, I wish you an enjoyable and relaxing break. This is the last episode of Retention in Action for the fall semester, but we'll be back in January. I look forward to seeing you then.